to Gar Borras' Time Machine Special Edition. Gar, when we taped the first episode of Gar Borras' Rewind, you started telling us about your upcoming show in Anaheim, and we just simply ran out of time. So we wanted to give you a 30-minute spot here to talk about the upcoming show and tell people where it is and how they can get tickets and anything else you think they need to know about.
Well, right. Well, just so you know, right now I'm outside of Rock Yard over at Fantasy Springs Casino. We just did a show last night. It was a really, really good show. And but anyways, this next Saturday, we're going to be playing at the House of Blues Anaheim. And it's over in Garden Walk. It's the old House of Blues in Anaheim used to be over in the Disney Disney Walk, but now they moved it over to Garden Walk, which is not that far away, but it's like a lot bigger venue. It's where the old venue held about 1,300 people. This one holds in like 2,000.
Yeah.
And for this show, our campaign has been so successful that we are expecting a to capacity crowd. I mean, literally, so I highly suggest to everyone that is planning on going to this show, get there early and get in line early, because once the venue is full, even if you're in line, unfortunately, it's capacity is capacity, and there's the laws, so. But anyways, it's good. Right now, everything is just, it's electric.
Yeah.
There's just a whole electricity about the show. I was just told at rehearsal the other day that Led Zeppelin is playing very close by.
I seen that. Wow.
Grove. And and I basically told him it doesn't matter if Led Zeppelin's playing around the Grove. Our show is going to be to capacity.
Yeah.
So it's really nice, that somebody else can have a big show that close by, and it's really not a worry about how that might affect your show.
Sure. And so how did your show last night go? I mean, you tired? You just kind of still recovering?
Well, it's funny because I do so many things in my show. So there's costume changes, and there's my wireless system. All the different costumes have to be authentic, and and everything, and to set up for all of that, it's a daunting task, because say when the venue says, okay, we would like you to arrive at 4:00.
Yeah.
Well, that means to me, I have to arrive no later than 3:00 to set up all that extra stuff that the venue doesn't even know anything about, that I have to deal with. So it's last night after the show, packing all that stuff was that made me more tired than the show.
You are your own crew. You and the band, you guys are your own crew, right?
Yeah, but it's everybody had gone home. Everybody bailed on me. Because everybody wants to talk to me after the show, and then so I get a late start on doing my stuff, and then by the time I get a start, hey, see you later, Gar. We're gonna go.
Yeah, and see, people watching this, Gar, they gotta understand you're more than just the singer in the band. You manage a band, you the shows.
I kind of pride myself in not doing the rock star stuff. You know what I mean? I come from a musician's background, because I played bass guitar professionally for you know, 20, 30 years, something like that.
In fact, you were sharing
And
with me.
not yeah. I mean, when you're doing it, professionally, you're getting paid. You're not a slouch. You
No,
you know what I mean? And so what was your question again?
I'm
I got
saying, okay,
lost.
first of all, besides just being the singer in the band, you have a lot on your shoulders because you serve as the manager, you book all the shows. And I imagine, like you say, when you get to the gig, when you tear everything down, you're the last person, the guys at the place where the show is being held, talk to, right? Or they lock everything.
Yeah. But it would, that old saying, when you do for a living what you love,
Yeah,
it never feels like work. And that is so true. I mean, you cannot take the work definition away from it,
yeah,
because it is definitely work, a lot of work.
for sure. And
More work than most people realize. If
yeah,
you want to be successful in this business, you got to be a person that has a very high work ethic and has absolutely no problem rolling up your sleeves.
yeah, and as you know, Gar, I've been a huge supporter of tribute bands, the tribute scene for several years. And part of the reason is I like to call tribute bands such as yourselves, I like to call it rock and roll theater because it's much more than playing somebody else's music. You get up, you dress the part. And what I want people to know who are going to go to the show next weekend about you, it's like you said, you started out, you were a bass player for many years, and only because you suffered an injury did you become a singer later in life. And so you're not really a natural born singer, but you've really worked at what you do and you've really honed your craft the last 10 or 15 years.
I think you really did touch on a point that I don't think that I mean, there are a lot of people that are fans to what I do now that have absolutely no idea that singing lead vocals was never my first choice.
Yeah.
When I was a kid and being that wide-eyed about music, because everybody that got drawn to music back in those days had the same thing that was happening to me. It was just an eye-opening, life-changing experience for certain people,
Yeah.
and for me, I gravitated towards bass. There was just something so powerful about those feeling,
Yeah.
not just hearing the notes, but feeling the notes. And that's what really got me
Yeah.
about playing bass, was just, feeling it. I just loved it.
I mean, I know growing up, you shared with me, you were grew up on a lot of stuff, everything from Black Sabbath, Alice Cooper, the Beatles, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Jethro Tull, the Who. So you had a wide range of influences. I know one of your first bass heroes was, of course, the legendary Geezer Butler.
Yes, but I went through when you're young and you got a lot of vinegar, you want to take on the world, I want to be the best, that kind of thing. And
Sure.
and back in those days, it was all about progressive rock
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
And then there also was a new breed of rock that was the predecessor to fusion, what they used to call, I think back in the 70s, they used to call it jazz rock.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
I mean, because it had elements of rock, but it also had, elements of jazz, and it was, fertile, learning ground for a musician that wants to take on really challenging pieces to stretch their own wings.
Yeah.
Because as a musician, the only way that you can become a stronger musician is become stronger at choosing things that are very, very difficult to learn how to do, because each time you add that difficult thing, you become stronger as a musician.
Yeah, and another part of your story I think you should share with people is, as we said, you weren't originally a singer, and you've done tributes. I think one time you were calling yourself Rob and Xander in a Cheap Trick tribute.
Gar Xander. It
Yeah,
was Gar Xander. I
Xander,
mean,
yeah.
and
Gar
I was just talking to some friends of mine last night. We did a little bit of an after party at the 12th floor over here at Fantasy Springs. And
Wow.
I got to say this. The 12th floor bar, lounge.
Yeah.
I'm not a bar person. I don't frequent bars and stuff. Drinking heavily is not a thing of mine. But after we do a show at Fantasy Springs, I always have to finish the night at that bar because it's on the 12th floor. It's such a beautiful view. It has an incredible vibe to it.
Yeah.
And but anyways, we were, I was up there at the bar last night doing an after party with my friends because some friends that I grew up with in West Covina,
Yeah.
were playing on the 12th floor. And so, we went up there and, they asked us to come up on stage. And so we did Knocking on Heaven's Door.
Wow. Yeah.
Up on the 12th floor and everything. But afterwards, I was talking about that. And, it was just, I don't know. I think I would go more off on a tangent about the 12th floor lounge than actually having to do with talking about music or answering your question.
Well, you're coming down from your show last night. You're enjoying yourself. It's all good, Gar. But point I'm trying to make here, that I want people to really understand is, again, that you were originally a bass player, and I want people to really, when they come see the show, understand that you weren't originally a singer, and you really worked hard to get to the point where you are. Because you even told me that you're probably your own worst critic, and you shared with me, Axl is really a hard guy to kind of learn how to do. So talk a little bit about that, because I mean, I'm not a musician myself, so when I come see you play, and I'm going to come to the show next Saturday. A few times I've seen you before in the past. To my ears, you're a great singer. You're a much better singer than I am, and so, but you're very critical of yourself. You tell me, oh no, I still got to practice. I still got to really. Axl's the hardest one kind of to get down.
Well, it is true. There I go with my Jimmy Stewart stutter again.
That's all right. We love it.
But it's true that taking on Axl, well, okay, think about it logically.
Yeah.
If you want to look at what you're doing as a business,
yeah.
You want to choose something that has less competition.
Sure.
And the reason being is because when a market gets saturated with the same, so much of the same competition, it dilutes everything.
Yeah.
And, but then even in those situations where you have so many, say, for example, as a Led Zeppelin tribute, there are so many Led Zeppelin tribute bands. But the cream rises to the top, and Led Zeppelin has become, that very high tiered, tribute band.
I call them
and
the premier.
The way I was looking at it was exactly that same way. Is that I wanted to choose something that other singers were afraid to take on. And which meant there was less competition, you know what I mean? Because that market isn't diluted as much, because there are very few singers out there that are willing to take that on, simply because of what's the definition of tribute? You got to sound like them. You got to look like them. You're not just getting up there like a cover band. You're an actor and a musician. You're developing that person's mannerisms. There's just so much more than what you do with a cover band. It's just so much more laser focused or put under the microscope. And so when I chose that, I think I chose it for the reason being that Axl was so challenging and intimidating. And when I first started Appetite, I've told this story so many times, but it's true. I was fired from Appetite for Destruction twice because I didn't sound like Axl.
Wow.
And that's how far I've come. Because I've I unveiled at the show last night some of the new breakthrough things that I've done that even make me sound more like Axl. And so that just gives you, a little bit better of a view of what I'm talking about when I was saying to you that I'm not done, that I'm where I'm at and everything like that. But, there's still room to improve. And as long as I, remain not a spitting image, picture, and audio of that person, there's still going to be more work to do. And I'm not going to be done until it is picture perfect. And you know how difficult that is.
That's what I love about you, Gar. You got that kind of ego where, you're not, there's always room to improve, or you're looking to improve it to be your best. And another part of the story I think people should know, initially how Gar and I met is before Appetite for Destruction even existed, you were in this other tribute band called Snake Pit. Now, initially you guys were on Facebook. That's how I found the band, and I came to see a couple of performances. And I thought at the time, you know what, that's a real cool concept, because there weren't really any other Snake Pit tributes, but it was more of a Slash tribute. They were playing Guns N' Roses, Velvet Revolver, Slash's solo music. And so on paper, it looks like, okay, that might work because there's no other bands like doing that. But explain to the audience why that got to be a problem, or it wasn't really working.
Well, it wasn't really a problem. It was very fun to do. Just the eclectic selection of Velvet Revolver and and all of this other the Slash solo stuff, and so it was very fun. But the bottom line is your attendance, because as a band, on the professional level, it doesn't matter, if you're playing Joe's Bar or if you're playing the sports arena or SoFi or, whatever. It's all about your value. Your value on the market is all about, how many people you bring in. And, unfortunately, the Slash thing wasn't bringing people in. And one day we were at rehearsal, and the bass player basically brought it up in a way that I liked. He goes, "Well, I think it might be a good time for us to talk about the elephant that's in the room." and so and that was the elephant. Was are we going to continue doing the Slash tribute? Which does not have the draw appeal, or are we going to convert over to a Guns N' Roses? Of course, the rest is obvious.
But I think too right there, it shows that even with performing the Velvet Revolver stuff, which was popular, most of the audience coming to those shows were more familiar with Guns N' Roses, and so a lot of the songs you're playing, people didn't know the words to, or, even the Slash solo stuff wasn't as popular as the Guns N' Roses stuff. And I think in forming your own band, Appetite for Destruction, that's another thing you're very smart in your branding. A lot of other ones called Appetite for Destruction. We're gonna stand out. We're gonna Appetite the number 4 Destruction.
Well, yeah, I had to do something that differentiated, because even though here in Los Angeles there wasn't that many Guns N' Roses tribute bands, but there were Guns N' Roses tribute bands in other places in the United States, and even in other places around the world. And so basically my thinking is what is it that I can do that would automatically differentiate us from the other ones that are, wording it Appetite, the word FOR, destruction, instead of the number 4. So it just, that was it. It was simple, just
Simple and sweet, right? Yeah.
something to differentiate from the others, because you can't like make them not
And
exist.
even, I mean, it's smart too, Gar, because you think about it. You type in like appetite for destruction, not only other tribute bands, but articles might come up about, it's the anniversary of Val, and somebody wrote a review or a article about it, the Guns N' Roses album. And so appetite, the number 4 destruction, you really stand out. And the only thing that really comes up is the band.
Well, yeah, and a lot of people always ask me why did I choose Appetite for Destruction for the name, and it really kind of surprises me that people don't know this. It's kind of a slice of music history that's kind of faded
Yeah.
now, and it blows my mind. The Appetite for Destruction is the all-time number one selling debut album in the entire history of music.
Wow.
And selling albums.
Wow.
They have beat out every other iconic Beatles, Michael Jackson, Rolling Stones, whoever, because, all of these bands have sold like outrageous amounts of, albums, as a debut. But Appetite for Destruction is the number one, all-time number one selling album in the history of music and
period.
album.
Yeah. As Gavin Newsom would say, period, stop, but Gar, tell us a little bit about the show coming up on the 17th, a little more. Tell people about, you don't have to give us a set list, but like, you play music from all eras of the band, or you just like play Appetite for Destruction era stuff?
Well, for different shows, we will contour the set list, in different ways.
Okay.
For different reasons. For this show, it's our traditional, hour and a half show, 90-minute show. Yeah. And basically what it is it's a mixture of the most popular songs. But one of the things that we do Locomotive.
I love that.
In the middle of the set, not because Locomotive is a super popular song, but because it has a guitar solo that gives me enough time to do a costume change.
Okay, wow.
I have to do a major costume change in the middle of the show. And so I have to leave the stage.
Gar Borras, you're such a diva.
Time, because if there's not enough time, everybody just stands around going, "Where is he? What's going on?" You know what I mean? So it all has to be timed out. And so we have Locomotive in the set for that purpose. But I have to admit, Locomotive, even though it wasn't like anywhere near their most popular song, it's a really good song.
Yeah,
you cannot deny that their musicianship that they display in that song, and how well it's done, and how you have to perform that song, how you have to be a high level musician, because there is timing in that song for the average musician where they would miss that timing, and now you're out of synchronization.
Yeah, I think I've seen you guys perform that.
So, it's a great song, but that's really about the only song that's not popular in the set. But it's a parade of the popular songs. Because what makes a night memorable? Oh, they played my favorite song.
So we won't be getting anything off Chinese Democracy.
No, but and I really tried, to give, that album, a chance. But, I will say this: when we do our show at Lake Arrowhead, we are planning on doing, that Chinese Democracy, the actual song. Wow. Because really, out of the entire album, Chinese Democracy, that is a really good song. I do really like the song Chinese Democracy, but the other songs just, and all I can do is speak for myself. It's in my opinion. It doesn't mean that I'm saying that everybody has to have this opinion, but I just, I couldn't find another song on that album that just, grabbed me. But Chinese Democracy did. So we are going to do that next Friday at Lake Arrowhead.
Wow, that's something to look forward to.
So we're doing a show at Lake Arrowhead the day before our show on the 17th at the House of Blues in Anaheim.
Wow. And so you guys will be headlining both shows, or?
Yes. We're the only band playing at Lake Arrowhead. So we're doing we're doing like 2 hours, worth of material. And by the time that's over, people will be tired of us. They'll be ready. Okay, that's enough Guns N' Roses. Let's go home.
And the one thing I'm looking forward to at the Anaheim show, Gar, is besides seeing your great band, Appetite for Destruction, get like 3 other bands, right, to come on before you?
Yes. Well, not 3, 2.
2, okay.
There's a total of 3 bands, and I'm really glad you brought that up because, both bands are really good. There's Sabbath After Forever, and, that's a given, what tribute that is. But, the reason why I put them on the bill is because, the whole idea was to kind of market the show with the Power Trip thing in mind. Because everybody was complaining about how expensive Power Trip tickets were and everything like that. And so I was doing the Powerful thing. And of course, if you're going to market it that way, you want the bands to reflect the Power Trip lineup, So I picked tribute bands that were on the Power Trip lineup. And so one of the bands is, about Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne. So I picked Sabbath After Forever, and their singer was really good. He sounds like Ozzy. They do a good job. Mm-hmm. And so the second band, the reason why I got them is because I had been hearing for quite a while about this band. They're called Noise Pollution.
AC/DC.
And, I had just been hearing some really, really great things about their band. Yeah. And, they're a busy band. They're playing a lot. And so, so I reached out to them, and to my surprise, they said, we'd love to do that show. And so I got them on the bill, but anybody that's on the fence thinking about going to this show, just for the Noise Pollution and Appetite for Destruction alone, that's a no-brainer, man. Both of these bands are gonna kick your
Gar,
behind, man.
Hey, Gar, when I found out about this show, you get 3 bands for that price. Wow. 3 killer bands, and I bet you didn't even think of this because this just popped in my head as we're talking. The cool thing about having an AC/DC tribute on the bill, I don't know if you even thought about the actual AC/DC connection.
Oh yeah, he fronted for them for a tour. Yes,
I couldn't do it, So makes perfect sense. There's that connection. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really a really powerful lineup, man.
Yeah.
So there's really no reason to be on the fence, man. You got a very high quality Black Sabbath tribute band. You got a extremely high quality AC/DC tribute band, and then you got little old Appetite for Destruction, ending up the night, for you. So, that. My God, it's going to be a madhouse. It is literally going to be a madhouse. And, I can guarantee you this. I can guarantee you that everybody, when they leave, they're not going to feel disappointed. I can guarantee you that.
Gar Borras is the hardest working man in show business. Let me tell you, for the last couple of weeks, we've been doing our Gar Borras Time Machine shows, and we're doing this today. You had a show last night. You have two shows next weekend, and we're gonna do our Back to the Future episode, episode 46 of Gar Borras' Time Machine next Sunday. Oh wait, I just forgot, Gar. And on top of it, next Sunday is Father's Day. What are you doing to celebrate Father's Day?
Just I I never think about myself. If anybody surprises me with some kind of a surprise, it's always nice and everything. But I don't have anything planned. I don't. I don't celebrate my birthday. It's just. I'd rather think about other people.
That's the kind of guy you are. And then here's a great place to end this for today, Gar. I'm assuming when you played is "Welcome to the Jungle" always a closing song, or does it differ?
Well, we like to actually end with Paradise City.
I can see that
because it lends itself so naturally to a dramatic ending. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we've always ended with that. What we want to do is we don't want to do the same show every time.
Yeah. That makes it boring.
We're reaching a point now where we're mixing it up, and we're doing whatever we can to try to keep within the framework of a set list that will make people really happy when they when they come to our show. But you know what I mean.
Yeah. So Gar, let me ask you this. We'll end it right here. But I was curious, of all the Guns N' Roses songs you performed since Appetite for Destruction has been a band, what would you say is the hardest song for you to either learn or perform? Like, is there one that's really a challenge? Or do you think you've mastered most of them?
Right now, it's not a song, but it's a thing that I just recently broke that barrier, and it has more to do with the technicality of singing, because in order to break that barrier, I literally had to take all of my formal vocal training to its extreme. I mean, to its its farthest extent, and which makes me so glad that I made that decision to dive into the formal training. But without that formal training, I would not have had the direction to go in the proper direction to do it in the right way, where you're not damaging yourself. Because that, when you're singing, like a guitar player, if a guitar player breaks a string, he can just replace that string. But if you do damage to your vocal cords, you can't replace your vocal cords. And once you do damage to your vocal cords, it's an extreme rarity that a vocalist can return to their previous form. So it's very detrimental to do damage like that. And so, I'm getting long-winded again, and I know we're going to run out of time.
We're ready to wrap it up. Yeah.
Actual barrier that I broke recently that makes me sound even more like Axl. Whenever I do it, and I'm actually performing it in front of audience, I get goosebumps.
Yeah. Well, that shows what a pro you are, my friend. This was real fun doing this, Gar. I'm going to have it post before next Saturday. We'll let you know, and we'll post it on Gar Borras' Time Machine Facebook page. These video segments we've been doing have been so much fun. So I look forward to talking to you next Sunday, my friend, when we talk in detail about Back to the Future. You take care. I know you're on your way home, so I'll let you get home, Gar, and you have a great rest of the weekend. Okay, my friend?
Oh, it's always a blast. Always a blast.
I love Sunday. Take care, my friend.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.